In a world ruled by intellect but starved of intuition, a world divided by conflict, fear, and distraction, are we as humans losing our way? Have we drifted too far from that inner essence, that spark that once allowed us to truly thrive? I sincerely hope not, because as a father, husband, and creative mind, I still believe in a future where we can connect, create, and find light in the darkness. So what might it take to rekindle that flame within us, to return to ourselves? This podcast explores human performance, not as competition, but as expression, as the result of how we live, think, move, breathe, and speak. We'll hear from people at every stage of their journey, sharing real stories and practical insights, so we can all learn to regain, train, and maintain our inner flame. I'm Darren McStay. Welcome to Hack Mojo. Rebecca Ward.
Hello.
Actor, award-nominated voice actor, public speaking coach, director, and producer. Is there anything I've missed off that list?
I guess you could put writer on there as well. I've co-written a couple of children's theatre productions, stage shows.
So that includes the one that you're working on right now?
I actually wasn't a writer on this one.
Okay.
But yeah, our previous shows, we co-wrote.
Right, so writer as well. Anything else? Because I know that you're with Blockbuster Gang and you do extra.
Yes. So I do some work behind camera in production. So I've done some assistant directing jobs, some running jobs on set, anything really production assistant or assistant directing-esque.
So you might say you're a bit of a polymath then.
Yeah.
Like myself.
Exactly. Very similarly to you. I've done lots of different things, behind and in front of camera. And actually, when I started doing stuff behind camera, I wasn't sure how I felt about it as a performer. Was it the right thing to do? Is it a good idea for people's first touch first contact with you to be seeing you in a role that's not your main profession, acting? Yeah, I was a little bit hesitant, but I just really enjoyed it. And I thought it's so nice to see it, a fresh perspective, see it from another angle. And it gives you so much respect for what people do on set.
It does.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, no, I found that. And I think we'll probably talk a bit about that in a while. But I wanted to say first, one of the reason that I invited you here today as my first guest on this new podcast.
Thank you.
For 3 reasons.
Yeah.
And I've named these the 3 Ps, your 3 Ps.
Okay.
Which is positivity.
Love it.
Professionalism and politeness.
Oh, thank you.
And I think it's those 3 elements that are valuable to others to learn perhaps how you might have come to a place as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, and as a coach. Because it's not easy. The creative arts are a difficult world to tread.
Yeah.
And so what keeps you motivated, what keeps you positive, what keeps you, staying professional and polite when everything else around you is likely falling to shit, as it does for many people.
Yeah.
And so I thought we could maybe delve into some of those parts of you and maybe uncover where they come from. Okay. And how you developed such positive and forward-thinking traits that I feel make you quite unique in this world, because it is you are a bit of a unicorn.
Thank
I feel.
you.
Yeah, you're
the honour.
Well, at least in the world that I kind of mingle. And it's not to put anyone else down. It just means you stand out for some reason. And I want to get to know why, because I think anyone listening to this could learn. Okay. And I want to dig it from you so I can take it for myself as well.
Yeah.
The first time I met you, I had done, for context for listeners, I had done a voiceover, a dictum. And this was, I think, 2020-21 when I did the voiceover. And I think you'd been in there either the day before, because Essa, who used to work downstairs in the studio, he used to take Polaroid photos of everyone.
Yeah.
And get you to sign the door.
Wall of
the
Fame,
wall,
was it? The Door of Fame.
Door of Shame. And so he'd said that you'd either been in or coming in,
Yeah.
and that you are also doing an English voiceover. So, right, so another English speaker here. So I guess I stalked you on Instagram to find out who this competition was. It's not a competition. We're not going to get the same roles, but I wanted to know who you were.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure how I reached out. Do you remember how we met?
I actually think it was through a mutual friend. You were doing it wasn't a rehearsed reading, it was a table read of one of your scripts.
That's right.
And I got involved via a friend. I think it was Daniel McMullen. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Lovely Daniel McMullen. And I think he might have put us in touch because you were looking for actors to do the table read. Yes. I remember coming to your studio and reading your feature film script in a group.
Yes.
And I think that might have been the first time we properly met.
Okay.
I knew of you, but I didn't meet you, I don't think, until then.
It's strange because I hadn't connected that was when we first met. I remember that meeting, and I know Daniel McMullen because he had a part in my latest film.
Of course he did, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't realised that was actually where we met.
I think that's the first time.
Okay.
I could stand corrected, but I think so. That was fun. I love doing things like that. Yeah. That's the reason why this job is so much fun and why it's worth pushing through the bad times, because you get to meet new people all the time, work with new texts. And yeah, some of those projects get made. Some of them might get shelved, or they might come back 10 years later as a project with a new life. You just don't know. But that sort of thing is exciting. It comes back to this thing we always talk about as storytelling is at the core of everything we do as humans.
It also brings people together, right?
Sure.
It's another sense of community. I think that's kind of a valid... More and more, I'm seeing that that's something that could be missing from my own life, especially being, I guess, in Finland and away from where I grew up.
Yeah.
Again, I want to get to that again.
I want to get to
because
that too.
You're someone else who's travelled.
There's lots to unpack in that.
So, but like, I want to talk about your positivity, right?
Yeah.
And your calm professionalism. Has it always been a natural part of who you are, or do you think it's something that you've developed over time?
I think it's always been a part of my character. I've been told by my siblings, my parents, from a young age that I've been a very positive person who's brought a lot of sunshine. That's how they would describe it.
Have you heard that since you were young?
Since I was young.
Okay.
And I think maybe hearing that when you're young, obviously it's a really nice, positive thing to hear. So maybe then you have that perception of yourself. And so... Yeah. Maybe that helps.
That's right. Because if you're told the opposite, you might start believing that.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Down on yourself.
So I do think it is inherently a part of my character.
Yeah.
But I do think that having chosen to do a profession in the creative arts has not been easy. It's been an uphill battle and continues to be, but and if anything, parts of that journey have taken that positivity away. So it's been really hard to claw it back and fight to keep that positive energy. So I've had to do a lot of work on that, I think.
And what kind of work would you do then to get back to that state?
I think keeping physically fit, doing things like yoga are really useful just to help reset, help with that sort of mindset of engaging with your body and letting things go is something that I find really useful with physical exercise. So yoga's really good for that sort of mindful, peaceful practice. And then running is really good as well for more of a kind of cardio stress burner.
Okay.
I dance as well. I do salsa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's my hobby. I do it regularly.
Do you do that with your fella?
No, I actually don't. I do it. We do it at an amazing school in Vallilla called Avec.
Okay. That means
and
including,
the
doesn't
teachers.
it? Or plus one, Avec.
Yeah, plus one. And the teachers, Johanna and Omar, are amazing. They've just built a really lovely community, and it's just one of those places you turn up to every week and you just dance for an hour and a half, and they have amazing socials. It's just a nice place. So that's the physical side of things, but I think also mentally you have to do a lot of work to stay To stay positive when things are quiet, and to trust in the fact that something always comes along, and when those rejections happen, to remember that it's not necessarily something you're doing wrong. It can just be that, you know, this one wasn't for you.
Yeah. And so what would you mentally prepare for, apart from the physical side of doing something to let go?
Yeah,
would you do anything emotionally? Or?
I think meditation's really good. Or I've had therapy as well, which has helped kind of process different things, different elements of your life, and deal with kind of traumatic things.
Would you say, is that traditional psychotherapy or?
I found CBT really helpful, but I have also done talking therapy.
Yeah.
Now I know CBT is not for everyone, but I found it really useful.
I've been wanting to actually do some of that for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's trial and error. You need to see what works for you, what doesn't. But I think, so I started doing CBT when I was having talking therapy as well during COVID times. I was really struggling just with the whole world situation, as I'm sure a lot of other people were.
With the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CBT really helped me with getting out of, I think it was negative thought cycles, patterns. So CBT is quite good for that.
So it's cognitive behavioural therapy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big supporter of therapy in any way that it comes. I think it's super useful. I think every human should have therapy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first day of acting school on the master's degree.
Yeah.
The first lesson was with the head of the course, Andrea Brooks. And the first discussion, the first talk was, okay, guys, welcome to the course. It's going to be a year long. It's going to be intensive. And we're sending you all for therapy.
Oh.
So everyone, as part of their master's degree, had to take weekly therapy sessions, which was covered in the tuition fees. Because you said if you're, if you want to go pursue a career in the arts, then you're clearly something wrong. And I thought that was fascinating. It's very eye-opening. And I think anyone that does work in this industry does well from, for want of a better phrase, clearing out the clutter.
Yeah.
And the self-insults and the feeling like you're not good enough because you don't get a part. But, we're a very small cog in a gigantic machine, and there's a choice of many other cogs out there. I guess that some might fit just slightly better than others. And
it's something the industry keeps reminding you as well. I can't tell you how many teachers or coaches I've spoken to have said, oh, it's very difficult out there, it's very difficult times, and especially someone that looks like you, there's plenty of you. I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, so did I in the UK. Less so now.
Yeah.
And I think I've had opportunities here that I would never have got in the UK.
I kind of feel the same, actually. Yeah. And I think it's maybe that switch of maybe being right place, right time, which gives you the advantage. Because you're here physically, you can travel to the UK when those jobs come, but also being here when they're casting internationally or for an English-speaking role, it's like, oh, well, we've got good actors right here. Why wouldn't we use them?
Yeah. Why pay the extra airfare?
Exactly.
And it's also greener to keep people here. And people like the green filming. Do you think...
We're cutting your carbon footprint.
That's it. Well,
by hiring us.
People get more opportunities for funding if they do that.
Yeah,
There's actually a carbon footprint form to fill out to see how much you're going to reduce.
Yeah.
And travel is the biggest one.
True.
So, with that in mind then, the fact that you have tools that you can work on, okay, you're naturally a ray of sunshine, from a young age, but then having tools that you've developed for when the times are low.
Yeah.
Do you think that positivity then is a skill that can be trained, or is it that can someone who maybe perhaps didn't have that positive outlook as a younger person develop it? Do you think that's something that people can learn to become?
Yes.
In
short.
Yeah.
I know it's complicated and there are so many things that are involved with that, but I do think that when people are encouraged and given love and support and they are reminded of that regularly, it has a huge impact on people. Yeah.
Do you think that... I imagine that CBT is something that helps you reframe your thoughts towards the positive.
Definitely, yeah.
Like hypnotherapy as well, and also sort of change your perspective on incidents perhaps that happened to you when you were younger.
Yeah.
So,
and also gratitude is something that I try and practice, because it reminds you, gratitude and perspective, I'm going to add there. Gratitude is so important because it gives you an appreciation and an understanding for the fact, like you were just saying, you know, you're just a small part of something big. You're in a big industry where there's lots of competition, but even bigger than that, you're just one person in a huge world where there are billions and billions of people. And believe me, people's struggles are a hell of a lot worse than mine. And you know what? Life's pretty good. I've got not much to complain about.
No. Even when it's at its lowest, you can still find...
Yeah, you can still find joy in the bad days.
I hear that a lot. I listen to a few podcasts, and I hear guests often talk about, especially successful guests, people who've, you know, the top of their game in many fields, often come down to talk about gratitude and how putting into perspective, well, at least I ate today. At least I've got somewhere to sleep, and I've got a family, and I've got this and that. And you could have less than anyone in the world and still find something that's positive, like the sun came out today.
Exactly.
You know, and focusing on that sort of gives you a different mindset, and that focus towards positivity.
Yeah.
And again, like I said earlier, I think some people are more naturally inclined, and I believe that you are more naturally inclined, and you kind of back that up a bit with and you can see how others reinforcing that from a young age was a really good starting point. But I love the fact that you also believe it's something that can be learned.
Yeah.
Because that means there's hope, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd advocate for therapy for many people. And there's many different types. So talking therapy is one thing. CBT, you said, was very effective. And
not for everyone, but good for me.
Yes, okay, yeah. Is it a bit witchy woo? Does it feel a bit odd?
I don't think it's that witchy at all. I just think for me, I liked the practical element of it. It was like a step-by-step guide to different exercises. And I don't know, maybe as an actor I had that connection with the sort of, maybe there's something subconscious about and maybe getting into certain like physical formations and what that can do to your psychology.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how much of that, because looking through your website and going over some of the things that you've been doing, which I haven't really worked with you in that area, but I guess when it comes to the public speaking and the coaching, and you mentioned body language, I wonder if some of that ties into what you learned from the CBT.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I hadn't quite connected that, but I think so. I think the CBT's like, well, it's all encompassing and it teaches you really amazing exercises. Like, for example, there's one exercise, I can't remember whether I learned it from CBT or actually whether I've learned it from an acting class, but it's something that I've used myself personally to deal with performance anxiety, which I've struggled with on and off throughout my career.
Yes.
And, you know, it's the classic, you know, all the demons come out to play. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You shouldn't be on that stage, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these sorts of inner monologue happens.
Yeah.
And you start getting that big kind of feeling of, oh no, anxiety is hitting. And then you start losing control of your mind, of your body. And it's really scary when it happens. So as a performer, you have to work really hard, if that happens to you, to fight back and make sure that you're prepared for it to not happen again. I think a huge part of that is preparation.
Yes. Massive.
Yeah. It's something that I talk about with Tan, which we'll come on to a lot.
Sure.
I think that's been so essential for me, especially things like knowing my lines. Knowing them inside out helps me go and do my job and play.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know them, then I don't have anything to fall back on.
No.
And then another thing is doing physical power positions or power poses before performing, I think is a game changer.
Right.
So it seems ridiculous, but doing something like, and I've done it for years, you stand really strong with your legs quite wide apart, with your hands on your hips, with your chin up, you just take some deep breaths, and maybe there's like an inner conversation, and you're just, you know, telling yourself affirmations. I'm amazing. I'm a really good performer. I deserve to be here. People think I'm good. I think I'm good. You know, that sort of thing, then repeating that
It sounds like there's 3 things in one there, right?
Yeah.
Deep breathing, that's a key one.
Yeah.
The positive affirmations,
Yeah.
like actually telling yourself positive things. Because if you're saying positive things to yourself,
You're going to believe them.
no, it's not just that. You don't have any space to tell yourself negative
I
things.
know, yeah.
You're taking over that
Yeah.
arena. And then the power poses, I've got mixed feelings about.
Okay.
But for different reasons. Because, and actually I could tell you why.
Yeah, go
'cause
on.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And there's lots of TED Talks on it, and there's lots of evidence to suggest it works. However, I believe that when you hold your book, because I've got a friend who's a kinesiologist, right? And I've got friends that work in a bit more witchy-woo, holistic ways.
Okay.
And less traditional methods like that.
Yeah.
But there is something in it, but not the way I think we usually use it. And so, for me anyway, this is how I would work on myself with it. So rather than adopting a power pose, I do all the necessary work in the morning to lengthen the front of my body, strengthen the back of my body, so I naturally align and stand.
Now that you said that, I'm like,
Yeah.
now I'm hunched.
Well, especially as I spend a lot of time editing and I'm crunched
Yeah.
over, I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, when people hold themselves, the body knows you're fucking lying to it and it springs back. So there's an effect where you're more likely to feel like shit because you're pretending to yourself and your unconscious knows that shit. And so from my experience, I find that's absolutely true, but taught in a very particular way that makes it sound like anyone could do it, but the body knows. And I think the difference is training the body to be able to stand naturally like that without you forcing it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that like between me and you there, we've found like the key to something really fucking powerful. We haven't discovered it. It's not new science, is it? But I totally agree that there's something in that.
I hear what you're saying, though. It's like, yeah, there could quite possibly be a way that you're tricking your mind into a feeling that you're not actually capable of then once the position's over.
Perhaps. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that as a fact.
Yeah,
it's
perhaps.
theorizing.
But yeah. No, that's interesting. I think I've just found it like useful because of the trickery. Sometimes I need to take back control in my brain and say, no, you are that kind of confident, brave person. Bring it back to that.
Yeah.
And so that's how it's been helpful for me at times.
Yeah.
So if you see me on set standing there like little Matilda, that's
yeah.
what I'm doing.
It's quite popular. You see politicians and people in the public eye doing that a lot,
Yeah.
especially politicians, and quite often female politicians as well. Interestingly, I think also because, in a sense, even politics is still kind of more male led. That there is there's this idea of strength that is visual as well to an audience that suggests strength. And so when you show strength, people look at you like you're strong and you feel stronger. So there's this feedback loop. I think that happens. And in a masculine world, that just so happens to be a masculine stance that makes like the wider legs, for example, and that makes us feel, and opening up the chest and being bigger, which is from the animal kingdom, right?
Yeah.
I did some animal studies and there's a lot to suggest that the alphas always puff up, always show themselves. They're showing their vital organs to say, I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Let's go and have it. This is also why Oasis was so popular.
Yeah.
Because Liam Gallagher's like, come on, and it is that thing of like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Therefore, everyone else goes, they don't give a fuck. We can follow them.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I can trust them. They don't care what I think, therefore they must be trustworthy, in a sense, or a good leader. So there's a lot of, things in that I think are really valid.
I think animal studies are fascinating in that sense. And also when you look at like other animals that are typically associated with meekness, shyness, or like lacking confidence. There's so much in body language and positioning and posture and about being closed off.
Yeah. Look at a
It's
hedgehog.
fascinating. Yeah.
Curls up with spikes on its back, to defend itself.
Nothing says fuck off quite like a curled up hedgehog.
Yeah, fuck off and leave me alone.
I'm hibernating.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now,
Sorry for cursing.
No, we can say what the fuck we want on here. It's fine. Actually, I want to stick with this kind of theme of positivity. I think it's a good theme for this show because I think you have so much of it. You've got an uber amount, and it does translate to professionalism, and it does translate to someone who's just good to have around on set because I've worked with you as a director, as well as just, social occasions. But obviously you said that your parents fed you, your a ray of sunshine or people when you were younger.
Yeah.
How much of their outlook, how much of, your work ethic do you think comes from them?
Oh, I think a huge amount of my work ethic comes from them.
Okay.
Yeah, massive. I think actually, especially my dad, he was very, very hard on us when we were kids. I'm one of 5.
Are you okay? Right. That's another question.
Yeah, the youngest of 5.
Youngest of 5. Wow.
Yeah. And there's quite a big age gap, but all 5 of us are from the same parents. So my oldest brother's 16 years older than me. And I think also having that big age gap, I grew up with siblings that were already teenagers/adults.
Wow.
And so, I was hanging out around people that were my siblings, but they were also like adults and they were in the real world. They were studying, they were working. And so I also had that influence from my siblings and saw their example. And I guess that sort of leading by example, when you're younger, you see that in your siblings and you think, oh, I want to be like that. I want to hold myself like that.
How old's the next sibling?
6 years older.
So there's not a huge amount of rivalry, right? Because in a sense, I guess if there's like 2 or 3 years between kids, they often fight over what's theirs and have this kind of, they want the attention of the parents. But if they're already like the nearest one is 6 years older, oh my goodness, that's so you really were like the baby of the household.
Yeah, the baby of the household. Yeah.
Babysitting was sorted.
Yeah,
parents.
easy.
So their parents had like a bit of a social life now as well, as well as having a child.
Yeah.
Wow. That is great. So you said your dad was quite hard?
Yeah, he was quite strict on us, I would say.
In what respect?
Well, in terms of performance, getting good grades.
Okay.
That was important to him.
What kind of grades are we talking?
Oh, we're talking straight A's.
In like
Everything.
the academic subjects, maths,
Everything.
English, history, geography.
Yeah.
What about sports?
Yeah, I guess that was important for him. I think he was more of an academic, though, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
That was more important to him. He wanted all of us to go to university, do further education, get good careers, make sure that we could look after ourselves.
Oh God, and you became an actor.
I know. I know.
Oh, what a stain you are on their life. No. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. But that's actually been quite an interesting dynamic to navigate, because I remember when I first told my parents that I wanted to try a career as an actor, they were both quite, I guess they were quite reserved about it. They had their doubts, but obviously they wanted to support me, which was a big thing for me. They wanted to support my dream if that's what I wanted to do. And, they offered to help in any way that they could, which, is lovely. And not everyone has that. So I do feel very lucky and grateful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty tough.
But your dad took the reins on that. So it was like very little TV time. It was you're studying now. It's school night. My
dad's a doctor, so he was away a lot on call, working long shifts at the hospital. But it was more just when the end of term grades came in, and if there was a B on there, it was a conversation.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm painting a picture that he's draconian, but I guess when we were younger he was quite firm on us doing well academically, but yeah.
How about your mother?
In many ways it was a good thing, because coming on to my mum, chalk and cheese. My mum's a creative. She's a designer and now an artist. So they've always been a very good balancing force to have.
Yeah.
Growing up, because dad was very academic, very hot on all the grades, whereas mum was much more kind of doing the day-to-day role of mum, and also very loving, very caring, very supportive, and didn't really care about any of the grades in the same way.
Nurturing and creative. That's amazing. Now, you were born in Australia, right?
I was, yeah.
And you were 5 when you moved. So your father is Australian?
He is.
And your mother's Finnish?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. But, so do you remember the first 5 years?
Very little.
Okay.
Very little.
What's your first memory?
Some of my first memories there.
Okay. What's your first memory of the UK, though? Because you moved there when you were 5, right?
Yeah. So one of my first memories was my first day at my primary school. I remember being very scared. In fact, my mum told me later that I was hiding underneath her skirt because I didn't want to meet anyone and I was just terrified to be there. But yeah, I remember that day really clearly. Walking into the class, and I think it was probably halfway through the term as well. Because I remember it being like not a first day of school. It was like unusual that there was a new student starting at this time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Late. And so they said, oh, you can come and sit next to...
Yeah, and I guess I had an Aussie accent at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would have been quite interesting.
Yeah.
Different, unique.
Yeah. But one of my best friends, still to this day, took me under her wing and we hung out. So, yeah, no. I have good memories from growing up in the UK.
Okay, well, coming back to that then, like sticking with that, but also maybe tying it into something you said earlier.
Yeah.
Because I think early memories, I think the things that happen, between 2 and 8 are known as being the formative years, right? That's where we sort of develop who we become. And you've said that, you were given, I guess there was some firmness towards academic performance, but that might have come after those years, perhaps more.
I imagine so, yeah.
But, you're a ray of sunshine, that leads you to feel positive about the world. But are there any particular moments that you can remember, perhaps around that time, that might affect who you are now? Other than, the support from the family. Is there anything like any particular pieces that you remember, maybe a spark of something that you feel you've still got with you today?
Well, I don't know, but the first thing that came to mind when you were asking that question was the fact that I was always performing when I was a kid. I was always doing shows, always singing into my hairbrush, always getting everyone to sit down and watch, and all those sort of classic things that some kids do when they're young. And I was always encouraged, which I think is like a really nice thing. And maybe that's one of the reasons that I felt like I could be a performer.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, subconsciously, I was encouraged to perform. Never told, oh, stop doing that. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
I think that's like a really nice kind of feeling to have as a kid, to be told that you can do things.
So it's like a self-expression, isn't it? It's like, I feel this way, therefore I want to share it.
Yeah.
I want to let it out into the world. And I wonder if that obviously now, because you've been an actor, you've worked both on theatre, TV, film, and in front and behind the camera. Yeah. And obviously you've got a theatre show coming up soon, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
But you are also coaching people now for some years. So do you think that's, obviously, for me, I think it's been a logical progression to do that. How much of that expression, that natural expressiveness that you wanted to share with the world, also ties into wanting to teach people too?
I think it does tie in, because I think that like natural expression and wanting to share things with the world is something that I feel is one of my passions. And so then if I can share that passion and find what that passion is with other people, even if it's not the same as mine, and bring it out of them, there's something so rewarding in that process. And that's why I think coaching is a really amazing thing, and something that I've been so drawn to doing, because I felt like I had a good ability to sort of find something in someone and find a way to draw it out and harness it and get them to believe that they were as amazing as everyone else could see they are. And I think so often when it comes to things like public speaking or performance, and you're not naturally a performer, or you don't have to do it every day, it's really difficult, I think. Some people really struggle with it, and other people have more of a natural talent.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard sometimes to know where to start. But I think mindset is a huge part of it. And giving people the recognition that what they're trying to do is hard, and that people train for years and years and years to do this. And they learn script after script, and they rehearse and they rehearse. And there's a whole process that goes into it. Giving people that a kind of insight into how professionals do it, I do think helps mentally them take I think, pressure off themselves to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a difficult one, isn't it, for people? And I've got a client at the moment who, I won't say the name, but they've just got promotion at work, and they work in a pretty high-powered job. And with this promotion comes a lot of more opportunities to speak.
Okay.
And they'd rather not. Yep. However, they have to.
Yeah.
And if they want to own it, they really need to find that confidence. And whilst they're very intelligent, you know, they're having a hard time just finding that confidence, right? And it's not always physical. It's not always emotional. And it's not always performative either. And that because actually the system I use is the 3 Ps, like not your 3 Ps. I created this today, but yeah, I always go physiological, psychological, and performative. And for me, that's how I break it down, and I can see which one can we work on that'll improve the others, rather than going directly to it.
I think we probably have quite a similar experience in that sense, that we've worked with a lot of people.
As actors as well.
Yeah, and we've probably worked with a lot of coaching clients who have had that... it's a lack of interest in being the centre of attention.
In Finland, I think that's quite prevalent as well, because there's a culture of not... of humbleness in a sense, of not being the centre of attention, and those who seek it tend to be not frowned upon, but perhaps, I'm not sure if they're not trusted or if it seems a bit showy.
I think that's it. It's like there's almost like a culture, and I've seen this in my grandparents' generation and the generation below as well, so my parents' generation. It's that, like adverse feelings towards flashiness and showing money, showing success, showing how good you are at something.
Do you find that as well? You find more of that here than in the UK, for example?
Oh, yeah. I think British culture is completely opposite.
Yeah.
I think people are pretty quick to tell you all the best things about themselves and sell themselves to you.
Yeah.
Not everyone, of course, it's a generalisation, but I think gift of the gab, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah, we love the banter.
Yeah.
We love the bants.
Love the bants.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And also the fact that me and you can talk over each other. Yeah. We've been polite so far.
Yeah,
but, you know, that's to be expected.
Yeah. On a podcast, we can't talk over each other.
I don't know. Why not? It's... How about your...
You told me my third P was politeness. I can't talk over you.
No, you can, because you're speaking to a fellow Brit. But your parents, right, so Australian, and I think Australian humour is very similar to English humour.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It's a lot closer than Finnish.
Yeah.
So your mother being Finnish, is she traditional in that sense? Because you said she was more the creative, the more...
Yeah. I don't
Sounds
know.
like he would be more Finnish in his role, you know, as a doctor and the sterner one.
No, I don't know. Like, I think whilst my dad was quite academic, he's got a good sense of humour and he likes to joke around. But I wouldn't say my mum's very traditionally Finnish.
No, okay.
I think she's a bit of a hippie. My parents did the hippie route together when they met in the 70s.
Okay.
So they've both got that side of them.
Taking acid, travelling the world, having 6 children.
No one said anything about taking drugs, but they did have 5 children.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
But yeah, so no, I think my mum's she's lived abroad since the age of 18, so I don't think she's that Finnish in culture, but obviously
okay,
there are elements of her that are still very Finnish.
How about her accent?
Very Finnish.
Yeah, and she taught you Finnish as a young age, because you're bilingual, right?
I'm not fully bilingual, so we were brought up, all of us, speaking it to varying degrees, but it was never our language at home. Yeah, not bilingual, sadly. Would have been a good asset, but, you know.
You do speak Finnish fluently?
I do, yeah. Almost fluently, I'd say. Not quite, but yeah.
How's your accent in Finnish?
Pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Most people... Well, I think it's more that I may make mistakes. That's how people can tell I'm not native.
Right.
But the accent's pretty good, I think, because we've spoken with our mum from a young age.
Yeah.
But yeah, people often ask me if I'm a Finn Swede. Because maybe there's something similar about the accent, I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I think
maybe people don't.
As a language, I think English is closer to Swedish, right? It's Germanic, like lineage.
Yeah, and I guess like historically, Finnish people aren't as used to foreigners speaking their language, so accents are quite new. And like, it's amazing now in Helsinki. There are so many different accents when people speak Finnish. It's like really lovely to hear.
Hard to understand. It makes it difficult.
Well, it's the same if people speak English and they have a thick accent. It's hard to understand.
Very true. Yeah, like my friend from Glasgow. Clearly, you've been acting for some time. I watched your IMDb show reel. I think you're getting a new one together now, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in there. I actually really liked the last clip where you were patient.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You look a bit younger there.
Yeah.
It must have been a few years ago.
Yeah.
But there was something in the stillness you had that was really engaging. What was it from?
We created a trailer for a script that we were trying to get funding for. And it was an amazing script by a writer called Brian Coyle.
Okay.
And the script's called Pure. And I first met Brian at a workshop, which is actually organised by my agency in London, MSFT.
FT.
And they do these kind of workshops where they marry up writers, directors and actors. And they basically, it's called script surgery, and you work through different scripts.
Yes.
So you meet loads of amazing people, and Brian was one of the people I met there, and I worked on his script. And then we carried on the conversation because we both loved working together, and we thought, okay, we need to try and get funding to make this a real thing, like a full version of the script. And actually, since COVID, the script would be more relevant than ever. It's got that kind of
Still trying to pitch it.
Dystopian. Yeah, well,
want it made,
I want it made. I want to be in it. I love that role. Anyway, so long story short, we were trying to create like kind of like a short film / trailer to promote the script in order to get funding.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about what you do with performance coaching. We haven't really talked about what your process is for acting. I assume you use similar tools than what you're sharing, because obviously, is it action workshops that you do with Tanley?
Yeah.
That's you're using acting techniques and tools to help people with their public speaking who might not otherwise use them or get hold of them. So what is your process for acting? Let's just say I'm your agent, I've given you a call, there's a script, then you get the part, and they're like, we start filming in 2 months. Yeah. Learn it. And what do you do? Where do you go? What's your particular process?
So is it a film?
Let's say it's a film.
Okay. Yeah. And how big is the role?
Supporting lead. So like, let's say you're in 10 scenes.
Okay. Juicy.
Yeah. It's not the lead, but it's not a minor cameo. It's a
Yeah. Well, the first thing is read that script so many times that you know everything that happens. I'm a big fan of knowing the beginning, middle, end, where all the other characters go. I know some people would prefer to just focus on their own character, but for me, knowing where my character sits in the context of the wider piece is really important.
Yeah.
And obviously getting familiar with the lines, knowing the lines is really important. As I mentioned earlier, I think that's, for me, my personal process is getting those lines learned as pretty much as quick as you can so that you can then play and find the character stuff. But whilst I'm doing the line learning, I'm also exploring the character, trying to figure out who the character is. So I would usually start with like a journal, answering all the questions, like going through the person's lived life every day. So using those kind of Stanislavski exercises.
Okay, so I'm sure that there's listeners out there that are not too sure what some of these things are. So you would, in order to learn your lines, you wouldn't just start reading and learning them. You would go through that entire script. You'd study the script. And Stanislavski was a Russian theatre practitioner who trained actors, and he was the first really modern day actor trainer. There wasn't really a lot of that beforehand. Before, it was usually directors or the group themselves that used to just learn on the job. Yeah. But he was one of the first people, and from Moscow, I think, who said, no, we can actually systemize this. And so he left a lineage which is very popular today in Western culture, especially in the UK and the US, where people like Sanford Meisner, Stella Adler, and Meisner have three sort of strands from different periods of his training gone down. So when Rebecca says about Stanislavski, she's talking about certain methods which come from his training like 130 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just a little brief introduction.
Good context. And I guess another thing to mention is that people often refer to it in the industry as method acting.
Sometimes. I think that with... was it with Meisner they do that? No, not Meisner. Strasbourg is considered the method one, isn't he?
I thought it was Stanislavski.
No, Stanislavski is the Russian dude who invented it, but he didn't. It wasn't the method then. I think he had what he called the
method.
Yeah, but that was from his early book. Because he wrote 3 books that were later combined into one. But by the end of his life,
Prepares.
Yes,
Great book.
It's a great book, but a lot of what he did in there was early in his career. So by his final book, he said, fuck what I said in the first book. It was bullshit. Get it on its feet and start working. And that's where I think people like Knebel and actually Stella Adler worked with him later. So she took a lot of the work just before he died away and used that. Whereas the other 2 guys, they sort of stuck with, no, I've developed what he told me. It's good. And it works if you do it.
Yeah.
But I think just because he continued down that path, he developed and he changed his mind about things and found more practical ways of doing it.
Which I think is also a really good thing to admit, rather than just charge forward saying, no, I was always right. Yeah. Admitting fault and saying, no, we've improved on this. We've developed.
Yeah.
Growth.
He had quite a career.
Yeah.
He did that for a long time. And he worked with like Anton Chekhov. So you use some of these practices, I guess, like modern day method, if you like.
Yeah.
But I'm reluctant with that word method because it usually, I think it's like people think Daniel Day-Lewis, right?
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy and some certain actors that maybe lose too much weight for a role or whatnot, or live that role as they're filming it. But what you're saying is you use like more of a system, like his system for breaking down text. Yeah. Breaking down a script.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So just wanted to clear that up for anyone who didn't understand.
Yeah, so I think practical steps to finding the characters. So it's asking those questions of who the character is, what motivates them, what makes them get up in the morning, what do they really want, what's their dream, what's the dream that got away from them. Figuring all these things out about the character. Do they have any sort of physical or vocal traits that make them slightly different to yourself? Is there anything about them that people notice as soon as they see them? You know, all these sorts of things really start to like think about and try to find answers to. I think because when you're, well, I won't speak for everyone, but when I'm finding a character, for me, I want to know everything about that character so that then I'm fully equipped to go into that, whether it's, you know, a show on stage or on screen, go into that process feeling really confident about the fact that I'm prepared, I've done the work. Not only do I know the lines, but I know the character. And I know the character so well that if the director or anyone else on set or the writer asks me a question about it, I could give my honest interpretation and opinion of exactly who I think they are. And, you know, it might not be the same vision as the director or the writer. And then that's a conversation too. And then that's where you have to be able to be flexible and be able to kind of use your preparation and make it work for their vision as well and make those things align. Yeah,
because it's often the case, isn't it? Like, I think with theatre, you're generally in the room with the director as this process happens.
Yeah, which is an amazing experience.
It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it more than the show itself.
Yeah.
Give me the rehearsals and you can keep the show. Because the rehearsals are so fantastic and you learn so much about yourself and because you do it as a group too. But sometimes I find, you know, myself as an actor and now as a director, occasionally, and I'm not saying this about you, by the way, but there has been instances where the conversations that usually happen in theatre don't happen with the actor for film.
Yeah, they don't happen at all. Often, even you leave the set and you still don't know what the director wants with that role.
Yes, and they might change it. Oh, that's not what I wanted. So sometimes doing all this preparation you want some answers before you start.
100%.
Like, am I going the right direction with this? Because if I start embodying all these things, these characteristics, I've developed, this guy's got a limp, and he comes from Japan, and he's, he has a husky voice, and he's slightly American.
And
you're like, oh, no, he's just a very straight German.
Yeah.
It's very tall. What I'm saying is there has to be a certain amount of fluidity to it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I agree that knowing things so well means that you can change it. So I think there's a period where you know it so well that you're stuck in that.
Yeah.
And if you know it even more, you're then free of that.
Yes.
Somehow.
I completely agree with that.
People think, oh, I don't want to overlearn it. I think overlearning it is the key to being free.
100%. And I cannot tell you how many times I have been in like acting classes or workshops, and you see people that know the text, and it gives them freedom to explore and play and embody things that even surprise them as a performer. And then sometimes you see other people get up when it's their turn to perform, and they don't know the text, and it's like immediately it's a barrier.
Yeah. Yes.
So knowing your lines, can't stress it enough.
So how could this then, because this is not necessarily just about actors, this podcast, I really want it to help people with their performance in everyday life, the performance and what they can bring to, we talked about positivity and how it can be learned, and there's therapies for that, and it's, what you tell yourself, even down to maybe even how you stand and how you feel that way, and having positive affirmations and, gratitude. But then as an actor, not just as a trainer, perhaps this is something that you use to train public speaking people with.
Yeah.
But what elements of this, of what you do to study for a role, and that what you teach for public speaking, could people use for their own advancement, for their own performance in everyday life? Like just the average Joe working at Tesco's, or, like wanting to get out of there, but not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. People who may even be actors but just don't know what they're going to do, and they've been knocked back so many times they don't know how they're going to get up again. So what is it that we can maintain, right? Like to keep ourselves motivated, to keep the passion, the fire burning, so we can continue to move forward, continue with our craft, and even if it's not acting, like I said, any part of our lives. What do you think that this could teach them, or that these kind of public speaking and acting training can teach? It's a big question. Sorry, there's many questions there.
Woo.
You've got
an hour.
Want me
to solve world hunger as well?
We'll come to that in a bit. That's on my next page.
Okay. That's a big question. Okay. A couple of things sprung to mind. I think follow your passion. If something isn't serving you anymore, listen to that. It's really, really important to listen to that. It might not be your gut telling you to give up on something. It might be telling you to give up on it for now. That's a very strong feeling, and has been for me. Right,
before we continue with that, because I think it's really valid, but not everyone knows how to listen to that voice.
Okay. I think as humans we've become less and less able to listen to our gut, which I think is something that technology has played a huge part in.
Yeah.
And just the pace of life means that when we get that feeling stirring up and something doesn't feel right, it's harder to trust ourselves because there's so much external noise going on.
Yeah.
And I think taking time, slowing down, mindfulness, yoga, really like taking holidays where you're switching off from technology is really important.
Okay, let me put this in perspective for someone who might need it laid out. So let's just say that maybe I'm a bit lost in where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got different avenues that I could take. Maybe my life's not going where it should, and maybe I've lost my passion.
Yeah.
To rekindle that is really to create some space in a way.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
And so good ways to create space is to use mindfulness exercises like meditation and physical exercises like yoga, walking in nature.
Yeah.
And these kind of practices, I know from my own experience, qigong, breath work will help with that also. So that if you don't know where you're going or how to get back on the path, would you agree that perhaps these things can help you to get more in touch with finding out what you should do next?
For sure.
Right. Okay. I just want to make it sort of like really actionable for anyone listening.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. Okay. And then also is another thing that I'd like to add to that, I think, is whether you make a physical diary or whether it's a mental note, it doesn't matter, whichever works for you. Something that I found really useful is if you're feeling like you've lost the passion or you're not sure what you're passionate about, start picking up on things that make you smile, things that make you laugh, because there's something in that. Something about those things resonates with you and makes you happy. And those things might lead you further to finding what that passion is.
And like rekindle the flame.
Finding the joy again.
Yeah.
Finding out what the things are that make you happy. And that's actually a really difficult thing for a lot of people to do. And obviously I'm on my own journey just as everyone else is. So it's hard sometimes to know what the things that make you happy are, but just like starting to note things that really resonate with you and make you feel good, and trying loads of different things is really important as well. Go and try new things, new hobbies, put yourself in new experiences, meet new people. You don't know when a conversation you might have with someone might trigger a memory or something that was in your life that isn't anymore that you remembered. Oh yeah, I used to do that every week. That was really fun. I enjoyed that.
Why did I stop
doing that?
Yeah.
And often the reason you stop doing things isn't because you stopped loving it. It's often something else like, oh, well, I was too busy, or I couldn't afford it. And so then you put those limitations on yourself as well, because, life gets busy and it happens to all of us. We always forget those things. But rejigging the priority list and putting the things that bring joy top above everything else, above career, like fun, joy as number one, I think is really important to finding out like where the passion is again.
So I'd like to summarize in a sense what people, a course of action people might take to rekindle and relight that flame, to find out what their passions are, which direction they should be going, and how they can perhaps start moving towards a better life for themselves. Maybe this is not supposed to be a self-help podcast, but in a sense, I guess it is. But creating space.
Yeah.
Like filtering out, I guess, turning off the iPhone, giving yourself some time to think clearly, be bored, allow space for meditation in your mind.
That's huge, be bored.
Journaling, writing things down. And if you can't be asked to write things down, dictaphone, put it into your phone. Just say what's on your mind, get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to listen to it again. Sometimes the act of what is known as prayer, saying things aloud, confession or whatever, saying it can really help just like relieve. And I know it's not, you didn't say it that way, but I believe it's the kind of point we were getting towards.
Yeah. The journaling thing, okay, you said two things there. Sorry, I know you're trying to wrap up and I'm jumping back to it.
No,
but
please.
Being bored, I think something that as kids, I was probably the last generation who were really bored in the summer holidays.
Yeah.
And the generations to come have had technology be such a big part of their life that they haven't really ever had to be bored because they've been constantly entertained. Yeah. I think that, for me, boredom ignited creativity.
Yeah.
It forced me to make up games, make up stories, make up things to do. Use your imagination. Yeah, so that's really key. But also the journaling thing, I just wanted to say about a book which I have read a couple of times now, and I think it's amazing for anyone that's trying to reignite a creative journey, and it's called The Artist's Way. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a 12-week program, and each week you have different things to do, different tasks, activities that you have to do to rekindle your creativity. Okay. And there are certain things that you have to do every day to make a commitment. So you have to do 3 pages of a stream of consciousness first thing in the morning or last thing at night, whichever works for you, writing 3 pages. And they're called morning pages, but they could be evening pages if that works better for you. Just write 3 pages. Doesn't matter if it's absolute rubbish. It's just getting it off your chest, similar to what you just said about recording. And then also it's a weekly artist's date. So you have to take yourself to do something fun, which I just love that. I love that idea that you are allowed to take yourself on a date and have fun.
Yeah.
So that's just something as well that I think is really great for finding creativity and learning more about yourself and what where your creativity comes from, what might have stopped creative flow in your childhood or your previous life, whatever.
And you as performing at your best in whatever it is you do. Okay, yeah, the artist way.
The artist's way.
Okay, let's see if we can't
Cameron.
link that below somehow.
Yeah, it's great.
And well, actually, that can sort of help with also the next one that you'd written down, which is try something new, do new things. So I think that ties into that.
Oh, just this might be a nice little tie-in here, but my business partner in the UK, who I run a theatre company with, Lily Streams, incredible actor, writer, director, producer. We've run a theatre company for 8 years now, Wind Song Theatre.
Yes.
We have a show coming up at Christmas, which is an original adaptation of The Snow Queen, which is happening at the Palace Theatre in Southend, a place you probably know.
From my childhood.
From your childhood, yes. And also because you studied near there.
Well, I grew up in Romford, which is on the same train line down to Southend.
But
you pass through Romford on the way out to down there. So that was the seaside town closest that we'd visit.
Yeah.
That and Walton on the Naze, or Clacton, or whatever. But so Southend, and I used to be a skateboarder as well, and there was great skateboarding locations. But also one of my favourite UK tattoo artists, Tom Ptolemy, had a Under the Bridge tattoo store there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, down the front. So I know Southend quite well. There used to be Peter Pan's Playground.
Okay.
There was nightclubs in Romford that shut down for a while, and they'd use coaches and take them out to the rock clubs there and start rock clubs in Southend. So I spent a lot of time in Southend.
Yeah.
So I know the Palace Theatre. It also hosts stand-up comedians, has done over the years, and many things. So, but it's great that you're putting. Is this your first direct?
This is the first show I'm directing on my own for our company. So before we've usually co-written and co-directed. So we've very much worked collaboratively, and we still are working very collaboratively because Lily's written the adaptation and she's also going to be in it in one of the roles.
Okay.
So we're very much collaborators. We've always kind of created children's theatre together. Yeah. But this is the first time I'm taking the director role on my own. So it's quite exciting, a little bit scary, but I'm really looking forward to it. So it is running from the 13th to the 28th of December. And it's in Southend at Palace Theatre.
I'm going to attempt to get this podcast episode out and others recorded before then, so that therefore anyone in Essex or even surrounding areas, London perhaps, even Suffolk, what's the one? Yes, Suffolk, Norfolk, then pop along, check it out, or even Kent maybe.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Recommended ages 7+. It is a musical.
Yes.
There's amazing original music written by an incredible local composer called Ashton Moore.
I'll put the links for that below also, this podcast, or wherever you're viewing it or listening to it. And also other links to Rebecca's website. But we're not finished yet because we've talked about your acting and we've talked about some, of your viewpoints towards how that helps public speakers and whatnot. So why don't you talk about Action Helsinki, which is what
Action workshops.
Action workshops. Okay.
Yeah. But we are based in Helsinki and we also have a bit of workshops happening, TBC, not been announced yet, in Manchester.
Okay, which is where Tan is now.
Which is where Tan is. So
before we start this one, I think Tan Lei was on a previous version of this podcast some 5-6 years ago. He was also on. He's an entrepreneur. He's a content creator. He used to be a director. He directed things like Hollyoaks and such. So he's been around. He knows the arts. He knows actors, I guess, very well. He was also, it was on one of my episodes on Improve Your Voice when we were talking about his sibilance. which I picked him up on once because he's got a very sharp S, which I used to have also. So we had a little session there, and if you want to go and see it, I'll put a link to that below as well, so you know who we're talking about. But let's get back on to action workshops.
Yeah. So action workshops came about when Tan and I met, and we both shared a passion for obviously the acting and the performing arts world, but we had both been coaching private clients on performance and delivery and communication skills. Now, these were very much people in the business world looking to improve their public speaking, improve their stage presence, learn ways to reduce performance anxiety. So everything relating to performing. When myself and Tan met, we hit it off, and we thought that it would be a good idea to kind of explore how acting can be more directly linked to coaching. And so we started doing workshops, which were free to attend at first. And it was very much for myself and Tan to figure out how, one, we work together, how we collaborate and communicate, and how we lead workshops together in that kind of workshop environment, which for us was like really important information to find out, so we could figure out if we were, you know, if it works, if there's a kind of mutual understanding and agreement on certain things. And so we led a handful of free workshops in Helsinki. We had lots of like lovely people attending who gave us great feedback and kind of helped us kind of craft and hone the workshop into what it is today. And so we still run those workshops, but now there's obviously a small payment to attend, and we run those workshops monthly as like a drop-in session. And then as well as that, B2B, we run workshops which are more directed for businesses, their teams, whether that's team building, to do something fun for the team so that they can learn skills in public speaking, as well as, you know, be an actor for a day and bond and do all of the fun things that you don't necessarily get a chance to do in your everyday work life. And then we also do one-to-one coaching as part of the Action Workshops umbrella. So we do team building workshops or workshops for groups, and as well as one-to-one training. So that's what me and Tan have been working on. And it's very early days for us still. We've now, I think, got to a place where we're really happy with the branding. We like that it's really clean, minimalistic, and it really works for what we're trying to promote. And our whole ethos is using the skills and techniques in an actor's toolkit to help people in the business world thrive and succeed in performance.
Wow. That was a good pitch.
Thank you.
Very clear, very precise. You've rehearsed that, I can tell. Because it was just too clean. It was almost too... There's no ums and ers at all. It's just fascinating.
Hopefully that's part of the gig, you know. I'm trying to sell what our products and services are. Yeah, no, that's great. Because obviously I travelled down a similar path when I first came to Helsinki. So I was doing a very similar style and similar tools as well from actors workshops back in 2016. The last one I did, I think, was 2021 or 2 online because of COVID. So it kind of, my interest towards it waned, right? And I think I would easily say that our kind of workshops would work well in the same environment. That we could easily be on the same stage, if you like. And I trust that, you know, we wouldn't have the exactly same ideas either, which I think is really important. Yeah, for sure. If everyone's saying the same thing, then what's the point of everyone? But I think everyone does have the unique perspective. And again, that's why I really wanted you here, because I knew you had a different perspective to mine. And Tan and me, like, it's funny, me and Tan have got I've got a lot of respect for him, and I love what he does, and I love his kind of entrepreneurial spirit. Yes. We don't always see eye to eye on everything, but we still get on. Yeah. And I think that's a really nice way to be. Yeah, for sure. We're not best mates, but I kind of like him. I secretly think he likes me too. You might know different. I don't know. Darren, that bastard. No, but hi, Tan, if you're out there. You might be listening to this, and he will be listening. Yeah. Hi, Tan. So what we'll do, we'll also link, because we talked a lot about, you know,
how this can help people with their public speaking, and I'll put links to your website and the action workshops as well below. So if anyone wants to get in contact with Rebecca or Tan and find out more about what's going on near you, if you're in Manchester perhaps or Helsinki, then maybe it's coming to a town near you soon.
Maybe
globally,
we're going global. World domination next.
Now, okay, so I think we've covered quite a lot, and there's a lot here that's going to be very useful for people who may need it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I thought just as a little bit of fun.
Oh,
right, because one of your biggest skills that I know is that you're a voiceover artist.
Yes,
and I took the liberty of going on ChatGPT this morning.
Oh no, you did not.
I did.
Don't.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I've got books and folders of previous voiceovers that I've done.
Yeah.
They've all got brand names on them.
Okay.
So I threw a few in and say, rebrand this for me with an unknown brand.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And so I've got a commercial script, a narrative script, and a corporate script completely made up.
Oh, you're a bugger.
It doesn't tie up. And
thank you.
On the other side is something else, but I'm not sure if we'll do that.
I'm scared to look.
No, don't do it. Okay. Don't look. Yeah, you'll ruin the surprise. So what I thought we might do is I know how fucking good you are. If you want a couple of minutes or make a note, then please do. But I
think we should just go for it.
I don't think you need to.
Yeah.
Now, I'm doing this because I want Rebecca to show off her skills to you, because you may not know who she is. And I've just thrown this at her. She did not know this was coming. I've got 3 scripts that a voiceover might receive.
Oh, I'm going to get you for this.
And one's commercial, one's narrative, and one's corporate. And you can read through them if you like.
Yeah.
Have a moment, and then do what you think's accurate for each one. Because I've seen you do this on TikTok. And I'll put also Rebecca's social media links below as well, so you can check out her doing that in her booth with preparation. Not like this.
I did something similar to this recently at the One Voice conference. They had this workshop.
Nice.
Where you could win. It was basically like a live audition where there were like knockout rounds, and they were just giving you new scripts all the time.
That sounds great.
It was really fun, and I actually came joint first with someone.
Fantastic.
And we both won a place on Maple Street Creative roster.
Right. So this is Rebecca
is like a
Ward.
round 2.
Let's go for the commercial one first, shall we?
Okay. Well, it's commercial, so I'm going to go traditional commercial.
Okay.
Morning's better when it starts with something real. At Bright Brew Coffee, we don't chase trends. We roast with purpose. Small batches, big flavour. Because your first sip should remind you that today's full of potential. Bright Brew Coffee. Wake up to what matters.
See? No pausing. She didn't need any preparation. She is you can trust this one, okay? Man. Now, for anyone who's flown Finnair, you may have heard Rebecca's voice before. I hear it every time I pop over to London or Ireland, because she's welcoming you on board, and also many others. Right? You've done work for Disney, Mercedes, and many other brands. So also, if you're looking for a voice, you've got a home studio. You can record from home. So it's another, like myself, another polymath. Would you like to have a stab at number 2, the narrative?
I think I'm just going to go for it.
Let's go.
The lake was still that morning. She could hear the world waking up. A bird, a boat, a whisper of wind through pine. This was the place where her father taught her patience, where silence had its own kind of music. And as the mist lifted, so did the weight of yesterday. Some places don't just hold memories. They hold you.
Fantastic. And how different that was, right? Okay, let's just go straight for it. The corporate.
ChatGPT script.
Well, they're based off kind of other ones, but...
Lumen. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen Severance?
Yes.
That's the company, isn't it? Lumen. But this one's Lumen Dynamics, okay.
Yes.
Oh, corporate.
Corporate. Education, come on.
Yeah.
What's the fact?
At Lumen Dynamics, innovation isn't a slogan. It's a structure. This year, our global teams delivered over 50 new sustainable energy solutions, reaching communities across 4 continents. Every number tells a story of collaboration, resilience, and purpose. Together, we're lighting the way to a cleaner, brighter future, one project at a time.
Wow. Okay. Well done. I have to give you a little golf clap because there's no other audience in the room.
Thank you.
Yet.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
So,
I
Rebecca,
can't believe you made me do that.
Well, I knew you'd rise to the challenge, and you took it on board. And look, I think we're going to have to wrap this up now. But it's been really informative. I've learned things about you today that I didn't know before, and we've known, for a few years now.
Yeah.
Because I think usually when we meet, it's because we're working on something or talking about something we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always in that kind of professional environment, isn't it?
Yeah, even when it's networking, it's networking, and there's kind of a purpose to it. There sort of was to this too, but I think that we've I think there's a lot of value in this, and I'm really pleased that you're doing so well, and that you're moving up and you're continuing, and you're showing people that you can stay strong, you can stay positive, and there are ways that you can achieve your goals, even if you're not there yet. You're enjoying the process, and it's so important. In especially now when the world seems to be so dark and mysterious and no one really knows what's happening, to find ways that you can ground yourself and stay focused or rekindle that, as I've said in my slogan for Hack Mojo, gain, train and maintain that inner flame. And it's something that burns very brightly within you. And so thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for being my first guest. I'm sure we'll have you back again in the future.
I hope so.
All the links to everything Rebecca will be below whatever you're listening or watching this on. So thank you very much, Rebecca Ward.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And
it's been lovely.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Likewise. See you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening today. As a new podcast, we truly value your feedback. It helps us grow, improve, and connect with the guests that you want to hear from. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend or anyone who might benefit from these discussions. Your support makes a real difference, not only in helping us cover the costs of production, but in allowing this show to reach more people around the world. And if you'd like to go a step further, you can visit our donation page to contribute directly as we continue to expand the channel. Thank you for being part of this journey and for helping keep the flame alive.